As Singapore grapples with record low birth rates, we look at the current dating scene in part 2 of CNA's week-long series on marriage and parenthood. Despite more dating apps and newer options like mixer events, data has shown many young singles hoping to settle down aren't getting closer to that goal. And as Nadine Yeam finds out, using more dating platforms may not be a good thing.
The times have changed, and so has dating. We all know the traditional way of having your friends and family matchmake you with someone they think you've been compatible with. And as the years went by, dating apps took center stage, where all it took was a swipe or a tap of a profile of someone who you'd like to get to know better. Today, the options have expanded tremendously, from curated dating experiences, paid matching, and even mixer events for singles. And with all of these options to find that special someone, is it really as effective as people make it out to be?
For 25-year-old Eliza Mercado, not so much. Over the last 5 years, she's tried multiple avenues and met many people, but she now faces what she calls choice overload.
It really depends on who you are as a person. Maybe if you're extroverted, you're like, yes, I can keep talking to people. I can keep meeting up with people. But at a certain point in time, it can come to a point where you're just like, oh, I keep going on these apps and then nothing's working out. It just kind of, I guess, reduces that effectiveness, not because of the choices you have, but also because of how much it takes out of you as a person to kind of just keep putting yourself out there.
She's not alone. Other singles CNA spoke to say while they yearn to find their other half, they've grown tired of swiping through profiles and waiting for replies. Even after finding someone special, some struggle to find time amid their work schedules for the next step, dating.
So say you knock off at 6 or 7 every day. On a daily basis, how many offline events can you attend? Time is really limited. And this is where dating app comes in, because the quantity that you can unlock is far more than who you can see at a single offline event. So I would say that dating apps will always be here to stay, because they are a very practical choice to complement your other dating activities.
One expert also adds that rather than throwing yourself into the pool of dating platforms, a better way can be taking a step back, finding out the key attributes you're looking for in a partner, then going back to the drawing board.
So the issue is the clarity that one has to have when it comes to choosing a potential life partner. I think it's very important for people to have this skill of learning how to select a partner. And I think if people have that mastery over this skill, there's many things that can come out, which is on a positive note.
She says that just like learning a new skill, dating takes time. But as long as one puts in the effort, it'll be worth the time.
So how has the dating scene in Singapore changed over the past 3 decades? Well, in the 80s, the government set up the Social Development Unit, or SDU, to encourage marriage, especially among university graduates. It came amid concerns that more educated women were staying single. The SDU organized dinners and social events to help people meet. Now, within just 18 months, about 4,900 people had joined and 6 couples got married. It was a more structured way of finding love, long before dating apps became part of everyday life. Over time, the approach widened. In 1985, it was extended to non-graduates and later to more groups, including those without secondary education. By 1995, these schemes were brought together under one service, the SDS. And in 2009, the distinction between graduates and non-graduates were removed completely. It marked a clear shift from selective matchmaking to a broader, more inclusive dating scene. And by the 2000s, the government was no longer trying to matchmake directly. Instead, it began working with private dating agencies. These agencies offered services such as profile matching, online dating, and relationship workshops. The search for love was becoming less official and a little more personal. Then came the internet, and with it, a whole new way of meeting. In 2012, just 19% of singles were open to dating online. By 2016, that had more than doubled to 43%. And by 2021, the share of couples who met online had risen by more than 20% to 29% over the decade from 2012. Online platforms made it easier to meet new people, shifting the search for connection from physical spaces to digital ones. Dating today involves browsing profiles, filtering matches, and connecting over shared interests. Algorithms use swipes, chats, and habits to surface people who may click. It is less about background and more about compatibility, chemistry, and values. As dating apps took off, the social development network faded into the background. Technology changed the script. More people began meeting online, making dating wider, faster, and more personalized. From state-led matchmaking to swipe-led chemistry, the search for love has moved to the apps, where profiles, prompts, and the promise of a swipe right now shape modern romance.